My wife is a famous celebrity, known for her boundless devotion to her husband. She gave me a sense of security. Absolutely never going out for social events in the evening. With every member of the opposite sex, she always maintained a safe distance of at least 5 meters. Her company didn't even have a single male employee. But everything changed until her grandmother sent an 18-year-old young man. He took advantage of his handsome, radiant appearance, even claiming he looked exactly like I did in my younger days. My wife even issued strict orders that no one was allowed to let a word of it reach my ears. Until that day, because a major project had finally succeeded, I excitedly rushed to her office, wanting to share the joy. But instead, I saw a young man with a face and aura similar to mine, letting Scarlett sit on his lap, feeding her wine mouth to mouth. He asked Scarlett if he was just a replacement for me. She pulled him into her arms. He played along. "Austin, you are better than my husband." I decided to give up completely that very day. I canceled the startup project we had planned for so long, the project into which I had poured all my heart and soul. Then, I called my uncle in New Zealand. "Uncle, I've decided to migrate to New Zealand." My uncle on the other end was clearly surprised, then happily said, "Leonardo, you've finally come to your senses. I'll have your aunt start the paperwork immediately. It'll take about 10 days, wait for my news." Hanging up the phone, I went home. When I arrived, Scarlett was already sitting in the living room. In her eyes was a rare flicker of tension. "Why are you home so late? Where did you go?" I shook the bag containing a pile of cancelled project drawings in my hand and replied, "Nothing. I just felt the previous startup idea wasn't quite mature yet, so I'm rethinking it. I went to the studio to handle some old documents. My body has always carried old injuries. The startup pressure was high, and lately, my health hasn't been good. The doctor specifically ordered me to rest and adjust my mindset more. The plan that once held all my dreams now seemed like nothing more than a joke." Scarlett saw my expression was as usual, then got to the point. "Did you come by the company today for something? Why did you leave immediately?" I guessed that a subordinate had reported seeing me at her office door, but she wasn't certain whether I had seen that scene. In reality, from beginning to end, they were only intimate for those few seconds. That young assistant fed her a sip of wine, then left her lap. "Oh, I was just passing by your company. Saw you were busy with your assistant, so I left." Clearly seeing her heave a sigh of relief, my heart ached. We had been married for 7 years, the model couple recognized by everyone. I thought we would love each other for a lifetime, but I didn't expect her heart to change so quickly. "He was just reporting on work. You know he's young and doesn't know the rules, so he stood a bit too close to me." Scarlett stepped forward to hug my shoulders, her voice tender. "Honey, it's been a long time since we visited our old school. I'm free tomorrow. Why don't we go there for a trip, to find back the feelings and memories of the past?" When we reached the old school, her expression was relaxed, and her mood seemed better. We were a couple that went from school uniforms to wedding dresses. Every wedding anniversary, we returned to our old school. But for this year's anniversary, Scarlett said the company was busy, so we didn't go. Looking back now, she was probably busy accompanying her 18-year-old assistant. I sighed, shaking my head in refusal. "Maybe later." The doctor said, "I need to rest well lately. I don't want to go out for now." She gave an then gently stroked my short hair. I leaned away, subtly avoiding her hand. She froze. "Leonardo, why do you seem so unhappy? Is it because you saw Austin standing too close to me today? After all, he's still a kid. He didn't mean it. You shouldn't hold it against an 18-year-old, right?" My heart suddenly tightened. There was a time when I too was an 18-year-old boy. Lifting my head, my gaze was calm. "I don't hold it against him." Only then did her face soften. "That's right. Next week there's a luxury watch auction. Whichever one you want, I'll bid on it for you." Only an hour ago, I had scrolled past Austin's status on social media. The big boss said she'll take me to the auction next week to open. My eyes. She even said she'd bid on the penultimate item as a gift for me. I love my big boss so much. Attached was a photo of two hands overlapping. In the photo, the wedding ring on Scarlett's ring finger looked blindingly bright. I looked at her quietly. No need. You should bid for someone else. Scarlett's expression darkened, and just as she was about to say something, her phone rang. It was a message from Austin. It was just a photo of him in a tight tank top, showing off his muscular arms, with the caption, "Big Boss. The room is ready." She only glanced down, her eyes darkening. Leonardo. The company has new business to negotiate. I have to go on a business trip for a few days. Saying that, she hurried away. In the corners of her eyes was an excitement she couldn't hide. I recalled countless nights before this, where she had used the excuse of urgent company business to rush away. Then came the frequent business trips. At this moment, a message from my uncle arrived just in time. I opened it. "Leonardo, your aunt has finished the immigration paperwork for you. See you next week." Scarlett returned after a week. I thought she would go straight to the company, but unexpectedly she returned home during the morning rush hour. These past few days, Austin's social media had been updated constantly. The latest photo showed him in a V-neck shirt, with the caption, "The big boss praised my new clothes." She even said she wanted to take them off herself. I laughed indifferently and casually commented, "That is the style she likes." Very soon after, that post was deleted. Scarlett entered the house and immediately questioned me. "Leonardo, I already explained that situation to you. Austin is just an 18-year-old kid. Why do you keep targeting him?" I was stunned, immediately thinking of the post that was just deleted. Sure enough, Scarlett, seeing my expression, became even angrier. "He only said one sentence about how lucky he was to follow a good boss, and yet you used such harsh words to humiliate him. Leonardo, you are 30 years old. Do you think you should be bullying a kid?" I pressed my lips tight, offering no explanation, letting Austin slander me in front of her. There were only 3 days left before I would leave this place. I didn't want to care about her attitude anymore. Scarlett, seeing I wasn't defending myself as before, felt a bit guilty. She softened her voice. "Leonardo, weren't you always the most mature and calm person? Why have you become so unreasonable lately? Is it because your health hasn't been good lately?" She placed the thermos box in her hand on the dining table. Then personally ladled a bowl of hot porridge for me. "This is stomach-nourishing porridge I specifically asked the chef at the old estate to cook for you. Don't you have a stomach ache? I've given special instructions for them to cook a portion every day. Tomorrow morning I'll bring it from the old estate for you to drink." She scooped a spoonful and brought it to my mouth. "Every time you're in pain, I wish the illness could instantly transfer to me." I frowned, determined not to open my mouth. Scarlett's tone turned impatient. "Leonardo, you're overreacting. You're not an 18-year-old boy anymore. Did you really expect me to obey you like back in the day? Austin is a descendant of a long-standing family friend, entrusted to me by Grandmother Cruz before she passed. Isn't it perfectly normal for me to look after him? Can't you be a bit more understanding?" I thought to myself, "Look after him? You've looked after him so well, you've looked after him right into bed." Scarlett always said she loved my mature and calm demeanor the most. In everything, I always prioritized her feelings. Even if I felt wronged or unhappy, as long as she offered a word of comfort, I would immediately accept her goodwill. I couldn't show attitude, nor could I make a scene. Just like now, she had humbled herself to make peace. She thought I should follow the ladder she had lowered for me. Forget it, I'm moving abroad to stay with my uncle soon. I don't want to cause trouble during this time. The porridge is a bit hot, just leave it there. I'll drink it later. Perhaps because my current attitude was somewhat cold. Scarlett softened her voice. "Good boy, Leonardo, I know you're the most sensible person." Not long after, Scarlett was called away to the company by a phone call. I didn't even need to think to know who that call was from. Scarlett kissed my forehead lightly. "The company has work. Wait for the auction tonight. I'll bid on a luxury watch for you." After she left, I burst out laughing. It's undeniable that we once loved each other. She truly did love me. It's just that later, she gave that love to Austin. A change of heart is a change of heart, yet she had to find the clumsy excuse. That Austin looked just like the old me. I looked at the marital home we had shared for 7 years. My heart filled with bitterness. On the living room feature wall hung our wedding photos. From when we first fell in love to the wedding portraits and every anniversary. Every year we took a photo together. Except for this year. The destiny has run out, it is time for it to shatter. I sighed quietly, cutting my part out of all the joint photos. Then I packed all my belongings. All the couple items in the house. I threw away my half. And the divorce papers I had previously commissioned a lawyer to draft. I signed. Along with the declaration of abandoning that startup project. I placed them in a box on the bedside table. I also scheduled the screenshots of Austin's posts and messages from this period to be sent to her email. I was about to sit down and rest when Austin's message arrived. It was the time and address of the auction. And one sentence. "Dare to come? Big bro," the big boss said. "Tonight she will spend 1,000 gold for love." In the evening, I arrived on time at the auction. Actually, I hadn't planned to come, my flight to New Zealand was tonight. I'm about to leave, why bother competing with a kid's provocation? But Austin had sent me the catalog of watches to be auctioned tonight. He wanted to brag to me that he was certain to get the penultimate world-class timepiece. But I was instead drawn to a work by a rising new designer. It was a pair of discreet, exquisite cufflinks, very suited to my uncle's daily style of dress. I wanted to choose a gift for my uncle and decided on this. Uncle is my dearest relative in this world. My parents passed away, and he raised me alone. Later he went to New Zealand to develop his career and wanted me to bring my wife along, but at that time Scarlett and I were deeply in love. Uncle couldn't sway me, so he let me stay in the country. I didn't expect true love to change in the blink of an eye. In just 7 years, Scarlett loved someone else. When I arrived at the auction, almost all the front seats were occupied. I sat in the very last row, intending to leave immediately after bidding. The highlight items of the auction are always brought out last. The cufflinks I wanted to bid on, because the designer wasn't very famous, were naturally placed earlier. I successfully won the bid at a low price smoothly. Just as I was about to stand up and leave, Austin in the front row called me back. With ill intent. "Hey there, old man, why are you leaving in such a hurry after only bidding on a small item? The real good stuff is still to come, especially the penultimate item. Today, it would be a shame not to see it." Austin's clear voice drew many people to turn and look. He smiled at me triumphantly. I also curled my lips into a smile. The age of 18 is supposed to be arrogant, brilliant, and fearless like that. No wonder Scarlett liked it. Seeing such a youthful, vibrant young man, I also felt a sense of appreciation. Scarlett doted on him, patting his shoulder. "Be good. Sit still." For a moment. Then she casually glanced back, wanting to see exactly what kind of person had caught her lover's attention. But when she saw clearly it was me, her expression shifted repeatedly. It was the first time I saw guilt and anger appear simultaneously on a person's face. There were quite a few familiar faces at this auction, all acquaintances within Scarlett's circle. Austin's clear shout made it impossible for Scarlett to pretend she hadn't seen me. Under everyone's watchful eyes, she had to graciously have someone lead me to the empty seat beside her. Scarlett used her eyes to signal Austin to sit in the empty seat behind. He stood up resentfully, eyes red with grievance. "I don't want to. Didn't you say we'd sit in the front tonight?" "Austin, don't make me say it a second time." Austin pressed his lips tight, struggling to keep from losing his temper. I gently touched Scarlett's arm. "Forget it, don't make it hard for him. I've already won the item I liked. There's no need for me to stay here." Scarlett's face was heavy, her tone dissatisfied. "You are my husband. He is just an assistant taking your place. What does he have to be upset about?" Perhaps the word assistant deeply touched the proud self-esteem of a young man. His eyes instantly reddened with grievance, and he sat down petulantly. In the row behind, Scarlett held my hand, insisting that I stay. At this moment, she certainly wouldn't let me leave. I had no choice but to sit down beside her. I didn't turn my head, but I could feel the gaze from behind, wishing it could pierce through me like a dagger. Until the penultimate item, Scarlett successfully bid on that world-class timepiece as she had intended. Only then did Austin brighten up again. The auction ended, and he looked at Scarlett with great expectation. But Scarlett didn't give him a single glance, instead handing the watch box to me. I intended to refuse, but she held my hand firmly. "Leonardo, you deserve the very best." Austin turned and ran away in a fit of rage. Scarlett's eyes chased after his figure. Her slightly furrowed brows and clenched hands betrayed her inner turmoil. I smiled, pushed the box back, and returned it to Scarlett. A precious item like this is better kept in a bank vault. Scarlett was stunned, her brow smoothing out. She gripped the box tightly. But before she could speak, I spoke first. "However, I must still thank you for the gift. It just so happens I've also prepared a surprise for you," placed on the bedroom nightstand. She gave me a hug, rubbing my back. "Leonardo is the best. Now I can't wait to see what that surprise is." While hugging me, her body unconsciously leaned toward the door. The urgency in her eyes was nearly overflowing. I knew she was in a hurry to go comfort Austin. I chuckled inwardly. "If the company has work, you should go." Scarlett gave me a look of gratitude, then took the watch and quickly departed. I then stepped into a pre-booked car, speeding toward the airport. Outside the car window, Scarlett's red Porsche flashed by. I turned my head away. "Scarlett, goodbye, may we never meet again." Scarlett drove toward Austin's residence. Her heart suddenly tightened. She felt a vague unease, always feeling that something important was about to be lost. She suddenly remembered Leonardo's expression just now and felt something wasn't right. By the time Scarlett reached Austin's house, this feeling of unease still hadn't dissipated. Austin was still sulking with her. Normally, Scarlett would feel that Austin at this moment was both genuine and attractive. She was precisely attracted by the youth and vitality in Austin. Austin made her rediscover the feelings of a young, impulsive girl from the past. But at this moment, she felt an inexplicable frustration. She didn't comfort Austin as before, but directly handed the box in her hand to him. When Austin saw the box, his eyes lit up, and the corners of his mouth curled. "I knew my big boss loved me the most. I'll wear it for you. Right now." For the first time, Scarlett felt the young man before her was quite materialistic. Even though she had previously spent money on him voluntarily, including the luxury apartment he lived in, which she had gifted him. But seeing his face just now when he saw the world-class watch made her feel very uncomfortable. Austin was only 18, not yet knowing how to hide the true emotions in his heart. He only became that excited when seeing expensive gifts. For ordinary small gifts, he only pretended to be happy for a moment. But Leonardo was different. Leonardo also liked the expensive gifts she gave, but he liked the small items containing her heart even more. Scarlett suddenly felt that Austin didn't seem to love her as he claimed. Austin took the watch box and secretly ran into the bedroom. "Big boss, wait a moment, I'm going to change into the battle gear I just bought to match the look." The frustration in Scarlett's heart reached its peak. She wanted to leave immediately to find Leonardo. Just as she was about to step away, Austin quickly changed and came out. She stopped breathing, standing still in her tracks. Austin had changed into a well-tailored set of pajamas. It highlighted his fair skin and tall physique. When he walked, he looked lazy and free-spirited, which, combined with Austin's youthful, radiant face, did not lose its vibrant energy. Scarlett felt all the blood in her body rush to her head. It should have been just a high-quality set of pajamas, but when worn by a vibrant 18-year-old boy, it created a massive contrast. She felt every nerve in her body stimulated. Unable to control herself any longer, she pulled him onto the bedroom bed. She had just personally buckled the luxury watch onto his muscular wrist. The next second, She had completely forgotten Leonardo. 2 hours later, Scarlett reluctantly left the bed. She dressed and prepared to leave. Austin held her wrist firmly, not letting go. "Big boss. Didn't you say you'd stay with me tonight? You're an adult, you can't break your word." This time, Scarlett was determined to go. She didn't know why, but she especially wanted to go home. She remembered that at the end of the auction, Leonardo said he had prepared a surprise for her. She was particularly anxious to go back and see what it was. Austin clung to her, refusing to let her go. She became a bit angry. Rarely losing her temper with him. "Austin, can you stop being so impulsive and unreasonable?" Austin also lost his temper, forcefully throwing her hand off. "Now, you're criticizing me for being impulsive? Didn't you say at the beginning that an 18-year-old should look like an 18-year-old? Being impulsive is attractive." Scarlett felt a bit of regret. In the beginning, she was indeed attracted by Austin's arrogant personality. She had originally been entrusted by an acquaintance to care for him. And then things developed to this point. In her mind, the face of Leonardo at 18 suddenly appeared. He was also confident and radiant, but he would never be so unreasonable. With her, Leonardo had given her complete emotional value. At this very moment, she clearly felt just how much she loved him. Scarlett thought of this and left without looking back. She wanted to go home to find Leonardo and apologize to him. It was she who had neglected him during this time. She promised she would try to spend more time with him in the future. As for Austin, she would send him abroad to study. After 2 more years of experience, he would become mature and calm like Leonardo. Scarlett thought that if Austin stopped being so impulsive and reckless, she wouldn't mind keeping him around. If he wanted to get married and start a normal family, she could also give him a large sum of money to ensure he lived a wealthy life later on. Lost in thought, Scarlett arrived home. She eagerly opened the door, calling Leonardo's name. "Leonardo, you're back." But no one answered. Scarlett stepped into the room with suspicion. If Leonardo wasn't home at this hour, where could he be? When she saw the photos on the living room wall with only one half remaining after being cut, her head began to ring. A sense of unease surged within her. Scarlett now realized that not only was her and Leonardo's wedding photo cut in half, but every couple item in the room had only one left. She rushed into the bedroom, opened the closet, and saw that Leonardo's clothes had all vanished. In a panic, she hurriedly grabbed her phone to call Leonardo. But she was met only by a cold, mechanical voice. "Leonardo's phone is turned off." "Leonardo, where on earth are you?" Scarlett called several times in a row, but it was always the same mechanical voice. She threw her phone down in anger. Panic filled Scarlett's heart. She felt a sense of abandonment. But she didn't want to believe Leonardo would just leave quietly like that. "He clearly just said he prepared a surprise for me." "That's right, Leonardo said he prepared a surprise for me." On the nightstand. Scarlett looked toward the nightstand. A box sat there. Her unease finally settled a little. "I told you, Leonardo loves me so much. How could he ever leave me?" Scarlett spoke to herself, picked up the box, placed it on the bed, and opened the lid. Her heart panicked once more. What struck her eyes now were the words, "divorce papers." She couldn't believe it and flipped to the last page. Her hands were shaking violently. Leonardo's signature was written clearly upon it. "Why? Why?" She murmured the question. "Leonardo, don't scare me. Why? Do you suddenly want a divorce? Is it that you don't love me anymore?" "No, it's impossible. No one in this world loves me more than Leonardo." Years ago, she had faced a massive failure during her startup phase. The project failed, and she was drowning in debt. She had wanted to give up, but it was Leonardo who stayed by her side, using his own meager living expenses to support and encourage her. To help ease her pressure, he even secretly went to construction sites to carry bricks for money, which caused his old injuries to flare up, nearly leaving him disabled for life. He always said with a smile, "Scarlett, just move forward boldly. I will forever be your strongest support." Leonardo had endured so much hardship and swallowed so many tears for her, and she remembered it all in her heart. She didn't know what to do to repay Leonardo's deep love. Only that she had to work hard to give him the best life possible. She had succeeded, becoming a successful woman in the eyes of others. But she had lost the person who loved her most on the road to success. Back then, Scarlett had secretly sworn to treat Leonardo well for the rest of her life. But later on, why did she forget the oath she had promised? Was it because Leonardo loved her so much that she became reliant? Or was it because her heart had changed to love Austin? No, it's not that. I love Leonardo. I never changed my heart. With Austin, it's only because I was attracted to his energy. The radiance and recklessness on his face are just like the old Leonardo. But she never said she would abandon Leonardo. Why? Did he leave her? When she saw the first page of the startup plan torn and crumpled beneath the divorce papers, she suddenly understood. Leonardo had seen her that day. He had come to share the joy of the project's success. To surprise her. Instead, he saw Austin sitting on her lap, feeding her wine mouth to mouth. At that thought, Scarlett's heart felt as if it were shattering. Leonardo had left quietly then. How much pain must have been in his heart? That startup project was the result of countless nights he spent to complete it. When he gave up on that project, Leonardo's heart hurt even more than hers. Scarlett clutched that scrap of paper and sobbed, unable to calm down for a long time. As she cried until she nearly fainted, her phone rang. It was a notification for a new message. Scarlett hurriedly picked up her phone. Was it a message from Leonardo? When she saw it was only an email notification, she put the phone down in disappointment. But immediately, she picked it up again. She had a hunch. This email must be related to Leonardo. The moment Scarlett opened her inbox, a message from Austin arrived. She brushed it off without looking and opened the email. She burst into tears again. What had Leonardo gone through during all this time? Why did he clearly know she was having an affair? Yet, he didn't make a scene or cry. He only endured it all alone in silence, then left quietly, not even giving her a chance to repent. She suddenly remembered something she hadn't seen. Austin's social media posts. She recalled a time when Austin cried to her, saying he only posted a small compliment about his boss and was then insulted by her husband. When she got home, she had immediately questioned Leonardo. But Leonardo hadn't explained a thing. Now it appeared that Austin had lied. He intentionally posted such a thing to provoke Leonardo, then slandered Leonardo by saying he called him shameless and a gigolo. Scarlett, seeing the young man she loved being wronged at the time, was fuming with rage. She had forgotten that, with Leonardo's personality, how could he ever insult someone else? The truth was now clear, and she immediately rushed to Austin's residence. Austin heard the movement at the door and knew Scarlett had returned. It had to be because she couldn't bear to be away from him. He was still wearing those silk pajamas as he ran up to hug her neck. Big boss, I knew you couldn't leave me. Kiss me, I love you so much. Austin spoke as he leaned in for a kiss, but he was startled by Scarlett's cold gaze. Big boss, why are you looking at me like that? You're scaring me. But Scarlett pushed him away violently. What you've done, you know best in your heart. I warned you. Leonardo is my red line. I told you not to provoke him. But you intentionally crossed it. I wish I could tear you apart right now. Scarlett's expression was terrifying, as if she truly intended to get physical. Austin had never seen her like this. He panicked instantly, his eyes turning red. Scarlett acted as if she couldn't hear his self-reproach, forcing him to open his social media. At that moment, the last lingering hope in her heart completely vanished. She was so angry she couldn't contain it, slapping Austin hard across the face. This is the great thing you've done. You dared to do this to my Leonardo. Austin, you really deserve to die. Austin finally understood. The post set to be visible only to Leonardo had been discovered by Scarlett. He grit his teeth inwardly. It had to be Leonardo. That cunning man must have snitched. Thinking this, Austin smirked in his heart. Snitching? Anyone can do that. As long as he acted weak and aggrieved, Scarlett would come back to comfort him. With that thought, he feigned deep hurt. his face pale as he said, "Big boss. I only did it because I love you so much. It's all Leonardo's fault. He's the one who posted those things to provoke me first, and I only fought back in anger." "Big boss, don't be fooled by that man Leonardo. He's much older than me. He definitely has more schemes. He just wants to drive a wedge between us, intentionally snitching to you." Austin felt the excuse he just fabricated was very logical. He thought he was so clever. But Scarlett saw through his lie instantly. "You think Leonardo snitched? If only he had. But he didn't even care enough to do that. Austin, even now, you're still trying to slander Leonardo. It's all because I indulged you too much. I'm only giving you this one chance. No matter what it takes. You bring Leonardo back to me. If not, I won't let you off." Austin knew Scarlett was truly furious this time. He sobbed as he pulled her hand. "Big boss, don't be mad. It's all my fault, but it's just because I love you too much. I was jealous of Leonardo. Jealous to the point of madness. If you're not in my sight for 1 second, I can't take it. Big boss, I'm really afraid of losing you." Saying that, he tried to get close to Scarlett, wanting to use his body to comfort her. He knew she liked his youthful physique. But Austin didn't know that when Scarlett thought of Leonardo silently, enduring the pain of these provocations before finally leaving heartbroken, she was filled with disgust for the boy in front of her. Thinking that Leonardo might never come back, she flew into a rage again. She used all her strength to shove Austin toward the door. She was shaking with such fury she could only grind out the words through her teeth. "Get out of my sight right now." Scarlett slammed the door in a rage and left. Right now, she only wanted to find Leonardo. She was about to be crushed by the fear in her heart. She truly felt that Leonardo didn't need her anymore. "No, I won't allow it." She frantically mobilized every resource to track Leonardo's whereabouts. But no one knew where he had gone. With her current power, finding someone should have been easy. She couldn't understand why Leonardo could vanish so completely and quietly from her world. She was on the verge of driving herself crazy. She called a few friends to a bar to get drunk. Her friends were all surprised that Leonardo had been so decisive. In their impression, Leonardo was the kind of good man who cared for his family and loved Scarlett to his very core. "Scarlett, Leonardo is just sulking. Men need to be coaxed sometimes. If you don't look for him, he'll stop being mad and come back in a few days. Leonardo loves you so much. How could he bear to leave you? Never mind you seeing an Austin on the side, even if Austin had other intentions, Leonardo would have to help you clean up the mess." The friends chimed in one by one. Scarlett's heart slowly settled. Then, the friends exchanged glances and secretly sent a message to Austin. In less than 20 minutes, Austin came running in. His eyes were swollen and red. It looked like he had been crying for a long time. Austin looking like this made people feel even more sorry for him. The friends all spoke up for Austin in front of Scarlett, advising them to make up. But Scarlett had drunk a lot of alcohol. Her mood was already bad. And now she was wasted, not hearing clearly what they were saying. She only knew that when she looked up, she saw her Leonardo. She stepped forward and hugged Austin tightly, murmuring incessantly, "Leonardo, you're finally back. It's good that you're back. Do you know how scared I was? I thought you didn't want me anymore. Leonardo, it's all my fault. I made you give up such important work. But don't worry, later I will help you fulfill your dreams. I'll definitely stay by your side from now on. I won't go anywhere." She lay in Austin's arms, crying and begging for comfort. Austin was exploding with rage at this point. Scarlett had mistaken him for Leonardo. He hated it most when people said he looked just like Leonardo. Austin's 18-year-old pride would not allow Scarlett to insult her love for him like that. He shoved her away angrily. "Scarlett, look closely. I am not Leonardo." With that, he ran off. Scarlett snapped back to reality. She knew she had mistaken the person. She also realized that the one she loved in her heart had always been Leonardo. She covered her face and sobbed heart-wrenchingly. The friends still wanted to tell her to chase after Austin. But she cursed them out. "Get out. All of you get out. Scarlett grabbed a wine bottle and roared at those good friends. They scrambled to leave. Once everyone was gone, she was left alone in the private room. She took out her phone, scrolling through the photos of her and Leonardo, and burst into tears again. Leonardo, I was truly wrong. Please come back. Without you, I can't survive a single day. I won't mess around anymore. I'll send Austin away too. Please, come back soon. All these years, Leonardo had been protected by her at home. Now that he had left, where could he go? Scarlett's eyes suddenly widened. Leonardo still had an uncle settled in New Zealand. The hope in her heart flared up again. She hurriedly sent someone to investigate if Leonardo had left the country. News was quickly sent back. Leonardo had gone abroad and had even processed immigration papers. Because he had immigrated, further detailed information could not be investigated. She only knew he had arrived in New Zealand. Now she finally understood. Leonardo truly wanted to be away from her. But she was the one who failed Leonardo first. It was all her fault. She had to find Leonardo, apologize to him personally, and beg him to come back. At this moment, I was busy at a company in New Zealand. The second day I arrived in New Zealand, I was forced by my uncle into a friend's company. I understood my uncle's good intentions. He was afraid I was grieving and wanted to distract me. In truth, I was no longer sad. I really liked life after leaving Scarlett. I no longer had to love her in the anxiety of gain and loss. No longer had to suppress myself to please her. Coming to this new land, my soul was free. I had finally parted ways with all of the past. But I didn't expect to hear news about Scarlett so quickly. My uncle told me that back home, several acquaintances had been asked by Scarlett to inquire about news of me. Leonardo, though I told them you aren't here. You must prepare yourself mentally. She might show up at any time. I nodded silently. I couldn't help but feel a surge of frustration. She was the one who betrayed our relationship first. What was the point of looking for me now? Furthermore, I didn't want to see her. I moved into the company dormitory. It just so happened that my boss had to go to Europe to negotiate a deal and wanted to take me along to broaden my horizons and learn business procedures. I followed. Just as I arrived in a city in Europe, my uncle called to say Scarlett had shown up at the house. Leonardo, just stay in Europe for a while. Take the chance to travel. I'll cover the expenses for you. This Scarlett didn't return home immediately after leaving my place. She's staying in a hotel nearby. It seems she wants to fight a long-term war. I didn't care. She was probably just temporarily unaccustomed to me actively leaving her, not because she couldn't forget me. I knew she hadn't signed those divorce papers yet, but that was fine. I had already contacted a lawyer back home to file for divorce. What surprised me was that on the same night my uncle called me, my boss's phone received a call from Scarlett. My boss handed the phone to me. Leonardo, this person says she is a good friend of yours from back home. My boss is a man around 50 years old. I call him Uncle Peter. I was stunned. Scarlett's voice had already come through. Leonardo. It's me. Her voice was clearly emotional, mixed with trembling. Leonardo, do you know how hard I've searched for you? How could you be so heartless as to leave me alone? You even want to divorce me. Leonardo, I will not agree to a divorce. I know you're mad at me about Austin. I've already fired him, and I won't contact him ever again. So, please stop being mad at me. Come home with me. Where are you? I'll come pick you up right now. Okay? Enough. I impatiently interrupted her endless talking. Scarlett, it's over between us. I absolutely cannot go back to you. The divorce papers, sign them if you want. Or don't, it doesn't matter. I've already contacted a lawyer. From now on, everything regarding the divorce will be handled by my lawyer. And Scarlett, please stop harassing the people around me, or I won't hesitate to call the police. Hanging up the phone, I was panting with anger. She had an affair with an 18-year-old kid, and now she has the audacity to beg me to come back. How did I not realize before that Scarlett had such a shameless side? Just as I hung up, the phone rang again. Uncle Peter looked at me helplessly. Leonardo, I heard the conversation you two just had. Even though you call me Uncle Peter and I should help you, this phone number is waiting for an important call, so you understand what I mean, right? Of course, I understood. Uncle Peter is a big boss. Every day there are many important calls related to work. Scarlett's constant harassment would affect the reputation of Uncle Peter's company. I immediately used my own phone to call Scarlett back. Only then was she satisfied enough to stop the harassment. Scarlett knew I didn't want to answer her calls, so every day she sent dozens of messages. She seemed to have returned to the time when we first met, with countless things to say every day. At the same time, she also wanted to use my uncle's persuasion to make me change my mind. Every day, Scarlett brought gifts to visit my uncle and aunt, expressing her attitude toward me, and vowing that she would never do it again. She hoped my uncle and aunt could speak up for her. But my uncle had never liked her. If it weren't for the fact that I loved her back then, I would have followed him to New Zealand to live long ago. My uncle rejected her on the spot and sternly warned, "Scarlett, my Leonardo has decided to divorce you. If you know what's good for you, sign quickly, otherwise we will call the police." My uncle didn't just reject her, he also quickly arranged a blind date for me. Scarlett found out and was so angry she almost went crazy. I didn't refuse my uncle's kindness, knowing he only wanted what was best for me. According to him, the person arranged for this blind date was someone I already knew. He was even more intent on me choosing this Chinese girl because he knew her background well. When we met, I burst out laughing. It turned out to be the somewhat introverted neighbor girl from my neighbor grandmother's house since childhood. Having not seen her for a long time, she had become more open, confident, and beautiful. However, I also explained clearly to her during our first meeting. I was still in the process of filing for divorce, and I wasn't ready to accept a new relationship yet. Initially, I felt a bit guilty meeting her, but Zendaya generously said it was fine. "Leonardo, actually, I begged your uncle many times before he agreed to this meeting. I know all about your situation. So, don't carry any burden. In fact, I liked you quite a bit when we were kids. It's just that before I could confess, you already had a girlfriend. Later, my family moved here, and I followed them overseas. I thought this first love of my youth would end without results, but then you appeared. I thought about directly identifying you, but then we would just go back to being friends. So, after much thought, I went to your uncle and said I wanted to go on a blind date with you. That's how we had our meeting today." Zendaya generously extended her right hand toward me. "Leonardo, let's get to know each other again. I am your blind date. My name is Zendaya. I hope that when you want to start a new relationship, the first person you consider will be me." I nodded and also reached out my right hand. But before our hands could touch, a figure suddenly rushed forward. Scarlett swung her handbag hard at Zendaya. Zendaya reacted and didn't back down. The two of them immediately fell into a brawl. I hurriedly shouted for them to stop, but both were red-eyed, scuffling and pushing each other. Finally, their hair was disheveled and their clothes were wrinkled. It wasn't until the nearby restaurant security came to intervene that they stopped. I glared at Scarlett and went to Zendaya's side to check the situation. Fortunately, there were only a few scratches, but they still needed treatment. I supported her, intending to go to a nearby pharmacy, but was blocked by Scarlett. Her gaze was both aggrieved and hateful. "Leonardo, you dare abandon your wife for an outsider?" I didn't get angry but laughed at Scarlett instead. "When you were rolling around in bed with Austin, did you think about being my wife? You are truly the most ridiculous woman I've ever met. I don't want to say another word to someone like you. Wait for the court's divorce decree to take effect, and we will no longer have any connection." I tried to walk around her to leave, but she gripped my wrist tightly. "Leonardo, I won't allow you to leave. I already said. I know I was wrong. Why do you have to hold on to one small mistake of mine? What woman doesn't make a little mistake, especially an elite woman like me?" Scarlett felt Leonardo was overreacting a bit. Her friends Who among them didn't have a bunch of boyfriends? After getting married? But she had kept herself for many years of marriage, until the young, radiant Austin actively confessed his love to her, only then did she momentarily lose control and go astray. But now she had fired Austin and given him a sum of money to make him disappear completely. She had done her best. Her husband could only be Leonardo. What more was he unsatisfied with? But look, now he was defending an outsider. I felt anger rush to my head, even angrier than the day I caught her in the act. Scarlett, can you stop being even more shameless? Don't think that having money means you can stand anywhere. But Scarlett didn't seem to hear my words, insisting that I go with her. Leonardo, it seems I've been too kind to you. I should have locked you up at home before, not letting you out, that way you wouldn't have had a chance to escape. You can never hope to escape me in this life. You can only be my husband, Scarlett's husband. As for divorce, don't even dream about it. I advise you to be obedient, otherwise, this girl in front of you might meet with an accident. Her face was gloomy, forcing me to compromise with her. But this time, I would no longer let her dictate my life as before. Scarlett, put away your ridiculous possessiveness. You don't want me to escape your control because you love me, but because of your terrifying self-esteem. I don't love you anymore, and I can't go back to you. Give up that idea. I'll count to 3, if you don't let go, I will call the police. I looked at her coldly. 3, 2, 1. I turned to Zendaya. Call the police. Zendaya and I called the police at the same time. The police also extracted the nearby surveillance footage. This was not a place where Scarlett could do as she pleased. Her power was not enough to reach across international borders. She was forced to be deported back home for disturbing public order and intentional injury, even if minor, plus her previous harassment. Before leaving, her face was a mask of defeat, though the corner of her mouth still held a trace of defiance. She said sadly to me, Leonardo, perhaps the way I expressed my love was wrong, but I truly love you. I always have. My sincere heart has always belonged to you. Austin was just a temporary distraction for me. I never intended to truly hurt you. Even the threats I made to you yesterday were not my real intentions. I was just so provoked by that girl that I lost my mind and misspoke in the heat of the moment. Leonardo, you must believe me, I still love you as much as I did back then. I looked at her, and in my heart, there was only exhaustion. If it were before, hearing these words from her would surely have made me very happy. But times have changed, now. Hearing them only feels ironic. I shook my head at her. Scarlett, the past is gone. We can't go back to how we were. As for the divorce, I've thought it through. I hope you can think about it seriously as well. Having said that, I turned my back and walked away. I heard her call out one last time from behind, desperate and helpless. Leonardo. Life returned to a state of peace. After returning home, Scarlett signed the divorce papers. She proactively offered to give me a portion of financial compensation, and even wanted to mail the precious watch she had given me. Previously, I refused everything. When I loved her before, it was a sincere love, absolutely. Not for her money. As for earning a living, it wasn't that I lacked the ability to make money. It was just that at that time, Scarlett hoped I could be the one protected by her side, so I compromised. But looking at it now, a man should not easily depend on a woman. People's hearts change. I returned to my busy daily life. I was swamped at the company and also made quite a few new friends. Most importantly, I could be by the side of my uncle and aunt. Zendaya and I maintained our previous relationship. I don't know where we will eventually end up. Everything is up to fate. 6 months later, I heard news of Scarlett again. It was a call from a hospital back home. The voice was urgent. Hello, is this the husband of the phone owner? The owner was in a serious traffic accident. Please come to the hospital immediately. I was stunned, only then reacting that Scarlett had been in a car crash. The other end was still rushing me. I hurriedly confirmed my identity. I am not her husband. Please contact her family immediately. The other end said, "How can that be? In her phone, your name is saved as beloved husband." But the other party quickly hung up. What happened to her after that, I do not know. Nor did I intentionally go to inquire. I hope she is safe.